Hello and welcome back to our Learn Node.js course on Codecademy. We're in the What is the Backend section. This is front and back. In this lesson, we'll explain what makes up the backend of a web application or website. The backend can feel very abstract, but it becomes very clear when we explain it in terms of the front end. To oversimplify it a bit, the front end is the parts of the web page that a visitor can interact with and see. Various tools and frameworks can be used to make a web page, but at its core, the front end is composed of JavaScript, CSS, HTML, and other static assets, such as images or videos. Static assets are files that don't change. When the visitor navigates to a web page, these assets are sent to their browser. Visiting a simple website is like ordering delivery from a restaurant. We place an order for our meal, and once it's delivered to us, we have it entirely in our possession. In this analogy, we can think of the front end as everything that's dropped off with the delivery: the containers, the utensils, and the food. You'll sometimes hear front-end development referred to as client-side development. Our instinct might be to think of the client as the human visitor or user of a website, but when we're referring to the client in web development, we're usually referring to the non-human requester of content. In the case of visiting a website, the client is the browser. But in other circumstances, a client might be another application, a mobile device, or even a smart appliance. While the front end is the part of the website that makes it to the browser, the back end consists of all the behind-the-scenes processes and data that make a website function and send resources to clients. Our instructions say watch the video to get a better understanding of the front end. Let's do that now.
The terms front end and back end are thrown around all the time in web development. But what exactly do they mean? Let's think of it this way. Imagine you go into a computer store. They probably have decorated the store nicely to make you feel comfortable and put a few computers out front for you to see. However, when you actually request to buy a computer, they will go to the back and retrieve a new computer for you to take home. Similarly in web apps, the front end is the part of the app the user will see. It is nicely designed and easy to interact with. The back end is where all of the data is stored and requests are processed, like a warehouse or a storeroom. The user can make requests from the front end to do things in the back end, like place an order for a computer. However, they can't go in there themselves. Let's say we're building a website for a restaurant. This site contains the restaurant's hours of operations, its menu, and directions to the restaurant. When a user visits this site, the HTML and CSS files for the site will be retrieved from the backend and displayed in the user's browser. What the user can now see, the rendered version of these HTML and CSS files, is the front end of the site.
So, with that, we're getting a better picture of the difference between front end and back end. Front end requests data from the back end. The back end checks if that data is there, and if so, serves the client or the browser. If it still feels abstract, we're going to cover more in the following lessons, and I'll see you there.